What's going on, YouTube? It's Blake back for a new video. Today I'm going to be giving you guys 5 key tips, ideas, whatever you want to call it, to blow up your bench press, right? Because you don't want to be that guy that looks pretty big, but when you ask him how much does he bench, nothing like what you were expecting. So the 5 key things I'm going to be going over today: we're going to be going over bench press form, we're going to be going over bracing, we're going to be going over accessories, we're going to be going over stretching, and we're going to be going over recovery. Stay to the end of the video and I'm going to drop one more secret tip that helped me bench 500 pounds at 17. Alright, tip number 1, form. Form is the biggest part of the bench press. I would argue that good form means more than strength. In the bench press, it's very important that you have the correct form. And what I mean by the correct form is there's three points of true contact that you need to have, right? Facing up down on the ground. You have your back, butt, and feet planted. In a powerlifting competition, it does not count if your butt comes off the pad, nor if your feet move away. If both of those things happen, I believe that your back will still be on the pad, so I don't think that could move. When setting up for a bench press, I think it's pretty simple. All you're gonna want to do, sit on the pad facing forward, and what you're going to do is you're going to slowly lean back. But as you slowly lean back to lay on the pad, like I just did, you're going to be flexing your back together. There's a more technical name for this, but I just like calling it retracting your scapula. How I mean to retract your scapula is just take a look at my back real quick. You can see that if somebody was to take this pen, put it right where my spine was, I would be trying to hold that pen right in the middle of my spine, which I would probably be successful at doing when I'm in my bench press position. When bench pressing, you do not want to lose this position at all. You want to keep this position throughout the whole entire bench press. Now, what comes along with having back tightness is keeping your head on the pad. Now, that's a 4th point of contact, but that's for a whole different video. Keeping your head on the pad is probably the biggest key to back tightness. Now, your back still could be tight if your neck comes off the pad, but for most beginners, most amateurs, and even the majority of pros, it's the best idea to keep your head on the pad. So as I lay down right now, you can see I'm going to flex my back, I'm going to squeeze together, and you can see my chest give this appearance of very puffed up. But I'm not puffing my chest up. All I'm doing is I'm just squeezing my back together. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get an even grip on either side. I'm going to lift the bar off, and I'm going to squeeze my back together, and I'm still going to keep it squeezed as I'm pushing the weight back up. While I'm doing that, I'm also going to plant my feet. You could be on your toes or flat-footed, up to you, but you're going to have your feet planted, and you're going to be driving not up, because what happens a lot of times, watch this, if you have your feet planted and you drive up, you're going to end up pumping the bar, doing something that looks like this. You do not want that. When you have your feet engaged and you have your back engaged, you want to drive with your feet towards your back. You want to be able to slide through a slippery bench. And this is a pretty slippery bench, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. As you can see, I ended up almost 3 or 4 inches back because I was driving all my force this way, pushing into my tight back. This is why you might see people take off their shirt to get more grip on a pad. They might put chalk on a pad, many different things so they can stay on the pad while they're pushing all their force backwards. It does not matter if you have your feet flat or on your toes, but what does matter is that that is not moving. If you pick that you want your feet flat, your feet cannot go on your toes. You need to keep them there throughout the whole lift so you know that you're maximizing the leg drop. Another key thing on the form, if you choose to go with a closer or wider grip, I don't believe either one is correct. I believe there's multiple correct answers. If you decide to go with a closer grip, I feel that it's very important that you keep your elbows tucked to your body so you can push from a more natural position. I think it's very important that you keep your elbows tucked to your body and you twist your elbows inward so you could drag that bar to a more optimal position and you can meet that bar with your chest. Now, if you decide to go a little bit wider, you may actually choose to keep your elbows flared out, and that will look like this. So as I take the bar down, I let my elbows go directly out facing before I press the bar up. In my personal opinion, I think it's better to keep your elbows tucked, and especially if you're benching with that closer grip, I think it's really important to keep those elbows tucked so you can use more triceps, chest. You can engage more muscles than just keeping your elbows flared out the whole time. Up next, we got bracing. Now, what do I mean when I say bracing? It is basically when to breathe during a lift. And on the bench press, I see it all the time, people breathing out or breathing in while the bar is in motion. I do not believe that that is correct. When bracing, I think it's important to get a big belly breath. You want to and push all the air into your stomach, creating basically a flared stomach almost. So when I'm benching, the most optimal time to do this typically will be right before you start the descent. So right here is right when I would take a big breath. And right about here is where you can start breathing out, just because you're just about to lock it out, right here. Now we moved on to probably the most important strength portion of bench pressing, the accessories. When doing bench press accessories, I find it super important that you understand that everything should pretty much help your bench press if it's upper body. Lower body may even help your leg drive as well. But when you're working upper body for a bench press, understand triceps and chest are the two main components. So such thing as tricep pull downs, putting whatever attachment you want on there, pushing down for your triceps. You could do this, this is like a push down, kind of like a dip thing. You could do dips. Then for chest, you could do just dumbbell bench. You could do cable flies. You could grab the cable. So many different things you could do. But also what I want to state is that the bigger your back is, the bigger your bench press will be. Now, how does that correlate? Well, that's simply because what's holding your back on the bench press? What's giving you that stable base? Well, your back muscles. What else is giving you that stable base? Your rear delts. Now, your back and rear delts are the two most skipped accessories for a big bench press. People don't understand that, because if you don't have a sturdy base on the way down, how are you going to expect to be able to push up with all the power and built up intensity that you have? You're not going to be able to. So it's important that you hit all four of those muscles for a bench press, and really don't skip any muscles at all, because even something like your biceps, your forearms, even your grip strength could all help your bench press. Mobility. Mobility is a big part of the bench press that a lot of people don't understand. If you're not able to comfortably bring the bar down, you're going to be losing back tightness. If it is not easy for you to bring this bar down and touch your chest, you're going to compromise in some sort of form, which is typically losing the back tightness in your back. I've had a lot of people that I've coached and worked with that have had really tight shoulders, elbows that weren't in great condition, and super tight pecs as well when doing a bench press. When doing a bench press, you need a loose back, shoulder, elbow, chest, triceps. Everything needs to be loose so you can make it tight, but certain things don't force you into what you're doing. A good warm-up that I like to do is basically getting under a squat bar like this. I just got my Smith machine. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hands somewhat close. I'm going to go under in a low bar position, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to work that bar as far as I can down my back. This will warm up my wrist, my rotator cuff, and my elbow joints. After you do a little bit of that, you also go on the video that I just posted on my Instagram. This explains this too. You do a little shoulder rotations internally and externally with a little dumbbell, just like this. And then you can also get a band, put it around your shoulder, push that forward like that, switch around, pull it backwards, and that'll warm up all heads of your shoulder, your elbows. Everything should be feeling pretty good after that. Another thing that I like to do, I like to push on my pec, literally just push on my pec and work it out before I go bench pressing, so I know that my pecs are loose and flowing. Now, the last thing that I'm going to cover in this video is rest and recovery time from the bench press. I find the sweet spot for benching is taking 2 to 3 days off. For me, typically that is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday bench session. Now, newer lifters may be able to get away with doing more, and even more pro level lifters can also get away with doing more. Me personally, I find benching 3 times a week is the absolute sweet spot. I find that I get rested and recovered, but it's all about finding what works for you. So maybe 1 week, try benching 2 times a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week. Figure out what works best for you and what feels best for you as well. I would not recommend anybody to bench less than 2 times a week. However, 1 time a week bench press, you're not doing the movement enough to progress, so I don't see how you could exactly progress off doing that. And the last tip that I said I was going to drop at the end of the video, if you want to load more plates on the bar, don't be worried about it. What I mean by that is don't force the progress. So many times in my training now, I've tried to force the progress. I've tried to rush the progress. I've not tried to trust the process. You need to trust the process. You need to understand it's going to take time. Don't just load more plates, more weight, get hurt because you think that you're progressing too slow. It will come in due time as long as you're doing the right thing and you feel good, you're recovering, everything. Hope you guys like this video. Let me know what you want to see next in the comments down below. I'm out. Peace.